Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about International Monetary Fund or IMF. IMF is a 189 member organization that works to stabilize the global economy. Its headquarters is at Washington DC. Then what are the objectives of IMF? IMF works to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment, sustainable economic growth, and reduce the poverty around the world. The IMF meets this goal by targeting three objectives. It monitors the global conditions and identifies the risks among its member countries. It advises member countries on how to improve their economies. It also provides technical assistance and short-term loans to prevent financial crises. Now, the history behind the IMF. The IMF was created as a result of the 1944 Bretton Woods Conference. This conference sought to rebuild the Europe after World War II. The planners of the conference want to avoid the trade barriers and high rate of interest that helped cause the Great Depression. The conference also set up a modified gold standard to help countries maintain the value of their currencies. The President Roosevelt hosted the Bretton Woods Conference. India is represented by the C.D. Deshmukh. C.D. Deshmukh was the first RBI governor of India. The institutions created by the Conference of Bretton Woods are IMF, World Bank, GATT. GATT later becomes WTO or the World Trade Organization in 1995. Then also the fixed rate exchange system. This fixed rate exchange system was discarded in the 1970s. Originally, the IMF started with 45 countries and came into existence on December 27, 1945 with the signing of agreement by 29 countries. You have to remember the exact date of the IMF came into existence, that is December 27, 1945. Now, who are the members of IMF? IMF now have a total membership of 189 countries. It is easy to remember the members of IMF by remembering the non-members of IMF. The non-members of IMF are Cuba, East Timor, North Korea, Liechtenstein, Monaco, Taiwan, and Vatican City. But in the case of IMF, the members do not receive equal votes. They have voting shares based on their quota. This quota is based on the economic size of the country. If they pay their quota, they receive equivalent in voting shares. All the members of International Bank of Reconstruction and Development are also the members of IMF and vice versa. Then the membership criteria of IMF. A country which wants to become a member will apply. An application will be considered first by the IMF's executive board. After consideration of the application, the board will submit a report to the Board of Governors of IMF with recommendations in the form of membership resolution. These recommendations cover the amount of quota in the IMF, form of payment subscription, and other customary terms and conditions of membership. The applicant state has to take the legal steps required under its own law to enable it to sign the IMF's Article of Agreement and to fulfill the obligations of IMF membership. A member's quota in the IMF determines the amount of his subscription, his voting weight, is assessed to IMF financing, and his allocation of special drawing rights. A member state cannot unilaterally increase his quota. Any increase in the quota must be approved by the executive board of IMF. Till now, the United States of America has the largest share of votes in IMF with 17%. Let's look at the structure of IMF. The chief of the IMF is a managing director now. It is Christine Lagarde since June 28, 2011. She has been elected for the second term also. IMF also have 2,700 employees from 147 countries. Christine Lagarde supervises 4 deputy managing directors. The IMF has a chair of 24-member executive board. Out of the 24 members executive board, 5 are appointed by 5 members with largest quotas, and the 19 executive directors are elected by the remaining members. All members appoint a governor to the IMF's board of governors. The IMF governing structure begins with IMF governing board, which sets the directions and policies of IMF. Its members are the finance ministers or central bank leaders of member countries. They meet each year in conjunction with World Bank. The International Monetary and Financial Committee meets twice a year. And the methodology of IMF. The first methodology of IMF is by surveying the global conditions. IMF has a rare ability to look into and review the economies of all its member countries. As a result, it has its finger on the pulse of global economy better than any organization. The IMF also produces a wealth of analytical reports. It provides the World Economic Outlook, the Global Financial Stability Report, and the Fiscal Monitor each year. It also delves into regional and country specific assessments. It uses the information to determine which country needs to improve their policies. The member countries have agreed to listen to IMF recommendations because they want to improve their economies and remove these threats. The IMF also advises member countries. Since the Mexican crisis of 1994 to 5 and the Asian crisis of 1997 to 8, the IMF has taken a more active role to help countries prevent the financial crisis. It develops standards that its members should follow. The IMF also issues member countries reports that investors use to make well-informed decisions. That improves the functioning of the financial market. The IMF also encourages sustained growth and high living standards, which is the best method to reduce members' vulnerability to crisis. IMF also provides technical assistance and short-term loans. Loans to help members tackle the balance of payment problems, stabilize their economies, and restore the sustainable growth. Most of the IMF borrowers were the developing countries. An IMF loan signals that a country's specific policies are on the right track. The World Bank lent money to developing countries for specific projects that will fight poverty. Unlike the World Bank and other financial institutions, the IMF do not finance projects. It is an important thing to remember. The IMF lends only to the member countries. In return, the states are needed to launch the so-called Structural Adjustment Programs or SAPs. The fund's mandate was updated in 2012 to include all the macroeconomic and financial sector issues that bear on the global security. Then the decision-making process in IMF. In IMF, major decisions require an 85% of supermajority. The US has been the only country able to block a supermajority on its own. Now let's discuss the role of IMF in India. Large financial assistance was given to India, especially during partition times by IMF. It also helps in the expansion of international trade in India. India has been one of the most frequent borrowers from the IMF. Since the 1970s, the assistance that India, as the other member countries of the IMF, can obtain from it has been increased through the setting up of the special drawing rights or SDRs. The membership of the IMF is a necessary condition precedent to the membership of the World Bank. Thus, India's membership of the IMF has entitled her to be a member of the World Bank and its affiliate, vice International Financial Cooperation and International Development Association. Then the change in role of IMF. The role of IMF has increased since the onset of the 2008 global financial crisis. In fact, the IMF surveillance report warned about the economic crisis. IMF has called upon more and more to provide global economic surveillance. They have also committed to policies that keep prices stable. They agreed to avoid manipulating exchange rates for an unfair competitive advantage. Like any other organization, IMF also have certain criticisms. The criticisms of IMF are financial aid is always bound to so-called conditionalities, including the SAPs. The economic performance target has been established as a precondition for the IMF loans. So the countries find it difficult to take loans from IMF. Structural adjustment policies led to an increase in poverty in the recipient countries. The developed countries have dominance over the least developed countries, primarily due to the Western bias towards capitalist form of world economy, with professional staff being Western trained and believing in the efficiency of market-oriented policies. Sometimes, IMF favors austerity programs in the borrowing countries. The austerity programs include cutting public spending and increases taxes even when the economy is weak, thus reducing the budget deficits. Effect of the fund policies at certain times in anti-development. Now we had come to the end of this video. In this video we have discussed about the International Monetary Fund, its history, its membership, structure, methodology, decision-making process, India and IMF, the changing role of IMF and the criticisms against IMF. For more videos on our examination syllabus, please stay connected with us. If you are new to my channel, please do like, share and subscribe. Stay connected with us. Stay safe, study safe. Thank you.